Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and this is my review for Magi, The Labyrinth of Magic, Chapter 203. Um, this one's pretty simple in the beginning. Alibaba, he's annoyed by Oba and Toto. Oba, he can read Alibaba like a book, so he figures out exactly what's wrong. But Alibaba, he manages to temporarily convince Oba that nothing is wrong, that he is wrong. And he goes into his room. Once he comes back out and he calms down, Oba keeps reading him like a book, and he actually ends up saying, "Well, at least you still have Morgiana." And this is the first Alibaba's hearing of Morgiana liking him, and he does this, the typical clueless protagonist thing. And Oba, he pretty much acts like a reader of the series does. He's saying, "Well, you mean you didn't notice this or that or this or that? Doesn't that kind of make it seem like she likes you?" And for the second time, Alibaba manages to convince Oba that he's wrong. He goes back into his room for the second time, and he just freaks out. Um, he pretends like he doesn't believe Oba and that he and he convinces Oba that he's wrong, but in reality he's hoping it's true. Um, he keeps going back and forth saying, maybe she doesn't like me, but maybe she does. She did do this and that and this and that. And he ends up thinking about what it would be like for them to be together, and he thinks it'd be really cute if they were actually together. So then he goes to where Morgiana is, and it's kind of and now he's like blushing around her and saying, how was she always this cute? It's kind of you've seen it before in manga and anime. It's kind of like what's it called, the ironic processing effect or something like that. It's like the ironic processing effect is if I were to say right now, don't think of a white bear, then you'd end up thinking of a white bear. It's kind of like that, but not really. Alibaba never really thought of Morgiana in that way, but once Olba pointed out that she liked him, he started thinking about what it would be like for them to actually date. And now that he's thinking about what it's like for them to actually date, and he likes what he sees her in a whole different light, and he's thinking, he's kind of convincing himself that she's cute. Not really, because she is, but like, not to sound creepy or anything, but uh, you get the gist of it. He thinks now he's noticing Morgiana more. He's more conscious of her. And Morgiana, she starts talking to him, and he thinks that she's confessing to him when she really isn't. This is another thing you see in manga and anime sometimes, where the girl, and sometimes the guy, I guess, I've never seen it the other way around, but usually it's with a girl. They don't realize that they like the boy, but they realize that they like being around him. However, they don't realize that that's why they like being around him. Um, and in some cases, you'll even see that the boy confesses to a girl and they reject him because they're just satisfied with the way things are. Um, but once the status quo is broken, they start to realize that the times that I enjoyed with that guy, it wasn't just because I enjoyed being around him. That wasn't it. It was I actually have feelings for him. So they start to realize that they have feelings for the person, and this is the process that Morgiana is going through right now. Before she was just satisfied with the way things are, but once that status quo was threatened, albeit it was for like 2 chapters, just 2 chapters, but once that status quo was threatened by Toto, she started thinking, I the reason I had so much fun was because Alibaba was there, and I want to be with Alibaba. I want to have a relationship with him. The only problem is that she hasn't yet realized what type of relationship she has with him. She wants to have with him. She just thinks that she wants to be around him, and that's it. So she's talking to him and saying that that because of how he's helped her and Toto and Oba in the past, all three of them have become members of his household. She believes that in the future he will also continue to help more people, and even more people will join his household. And eventually she'll just become, just another member. She thinks that she won't be able to be with him any longer. So she asks him if after everything happens, after all the things that they end up going through in their journey and everything, if if she will be able to continue to stand by his side. And Alibaba, he thinks that she's proposing to him, and he tells her that she's special to him, and that he wants her to be by his side forever, and that he'll always be with her, he'll always be there for her. And this hits Morgiana pretty hard. It's if you saw my anime review for Magi this week, yesterday I believe, um, it's kind of similar to what I said about Hakuryu when he confessed to Morgiana, because she's never experienced feelings like this before. She's never experienced a boy having those types of feelings for her, or vice versa. And for the first time, she's felt strongly about someone. First Hakuryu, and now Alibaba. And Alibaba was technically the first boy to actually have a legitimate impact on her. I mean, I guess you could say Goltas, but I mean like you know what I mean. So for Morgiana, that hits her pretty hard. She starts to cry because she's so touched, and it means a lot to her. And to be like, I would be tempted. This is good development, it really is, and I'd be tempted to give this chapter an 8 out of 10, but I'm not. And the reason being is because this development is based off of a misunderstanding. For Alibaba, this is, he's finally getting a girl, but for Morgiana, it's more serious than that. This is like a life-changing moment for her. And Morgiana, she's taking this seriously, and she's crying because of how touched she is. And Alibaba, he hugs her, and he's like smiling, thinking, "Yes, I have a girl now too." It's like two completely different feelings. It's the development is based off of a misunderstanding. It almost feels like it's not real development. It's just a mistake. So the moment with Morgiana was really good, but it's kind of just you kind of lose that with the comedy, or at least the attempt at comedy, because I didn't really find it that funny in this chapter, just because he was bouncing back and forth between serious and comedy. So I guess I'll give this chapter a 6.5 out of 10, because for one, it's because I kind of want the plot to come back. I said before that I was happy to finally get an arc where Aladdin wasn't in it, just because he's been the focus for so long, and Alibaba and Morgiana haven't. Aladdin had an arc all to himself. Okay, and then Alibaba didn't come in until towards the end, and Morgiana even later than that. So now it's time for Alibaba and Morgiana to get their time, and for Aladdin to come in towards the end. So, but I was looking forward to seeing how an arc without Aladdin would even go. Because if you had to pick one main character, it would probably be Aladdin. It's called Magi, and he's the Magi. But I just find it interesting to see how an arc without Aladdin would go. But we're not getting there. We're getting all this episodic stuff, and I'm enjoying it. I am, but I like plot. I kind of want the plot to come back. But I think it was fun at first, but right now this is where I've kind of hit my limit. Like, I don't want this week is fine, but I don't want next week to be yet another episodic chapter where they're at sea. I want them to get to Baobab. However long of a time skip you need to have them show up at Baobab, or have something plot relevant happen. It doesn't necessarily need to be them showing up at Baobab, but something that has to do with the plot. But yeah, I'll give this chapter 6.5 out of 10. It was all right, but I give it that extra 0.5 just because of Morgiana. but it would have been much better if it was actual development and not a mistake, you know. But what are you gonna do? Uh, that's really it for now. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.